Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming on a Saturday evening at 5 o'clock, and it's nice outside. So I promise to not keep you long, but thank you very much for coming. Steve, thanks for the opportunity to be here. Gosh, there's a lot that I would love to say. I won't say it all. I'll sort of give you a quick summary about me. So I'm Dr. Jason Shelton, professor at UT Arlington, been there for 18 years now. I'm in the sociology department, and Texas has, where my wife Sarah is here. We're from Ohio, by way of California. I'll tell you about that in a little bit too. But Texas has just been fantastic for us. 2 weeks after we left Cleveland and got to Houston, so we've been in Houston 2 weeks. And Sarah looks at me and she says, "You got to find a job in Texas. I want to stay here." And I thought, good Lord, like, really? Like, you're not supposed to work like that. Like, she laid it on me. And it ended up turning into a position here at UT Arlington. And we have really found our place in the sun here in Texas, in Arlington. And it has been really fantastic. So like I say, I'm a sociology professor. I'm also the director of the African American Studies program. And that position, and just being at the university, has just given me a great platform. And a few years ago, I got a phone call from Dr. Barbara Owen Wesley, who currently sits in the seat for District 8, and she's term limited. And she said to me, "Hey, Jason, we need you to serve on a committee in City Hall." And I said, "I would be honored to serve." And then she said, "More than serving on the committee, I want you to chair the committee." And I thought, good Lord, you just kind of suckered me in. And so, and it's been an honor. So I chaired the Arlington Unity Council for 5 years, and Jennifer Cathcart and I were on that committee. So thank you for being here for sure. Yes, the inaugural one. The committee that Jennifer and I were on years ago was essentially a temporary committee. It was established in the aftermath of the murder of George Floyd. I know you all remember what the tone of the country was at that time. And Barbara said, "Hey, we're setting this committee up. We want a broad range of people to serve on this committee." There were 30 of us. And she said, "We want to make sure that our city doesn't have challenges related to diversity and inequality that other cities have had in the U.S." And we took on that task. And all 30 members of our committee signed off on each and every one of those recommendations. So anyway, I tell you that to say that I didn't just wake up in the morning one day and decide to run for city council. I'm experienced. I've been there 5 years. That temporary committee that Jennifer and I were on became a permanent task force, a permanent board and commission here in the city. And so I've been able to work in City Hall on things related to transportation, on things related to the Arlington Police Department, on things related to economic development, on things related to a whole host of things in our city that are hot button issues and certain things that aren't so hot button issues, but help to move our city forward. And so I'm really proud of that. If you elect me to office, I know what I'm doing on day one. I know who to call, I know who not to call, and if I don't know who to call, I know who to ask to figure out who to go to call. And one of the things you'll probably learn about me is I'm very much so a bridge builder. I get along with people. I'm always got a smile on my face. I can teach controversial stuff at the university and make sure that everybody feels comfortable expressing themselves on these hot button issues. And so those are some of the things that sort of have inspired me to run for office. But one of the other things that sort of stands out to me, I mentioned Sarah and I are from Ohio. As a kid, I grew up in Los Angeles. I went to graduate school in Miami, Florida. I've lived in cities for most of my life. And I've lived in suburbs in some of those cities too. And I think that for Sarah and I, being here for 18 years, we've kind of seen a quick transition for Arlington. This was more of a suburb 18 years ago when we got here, but it's not a suburb today. Arlington now is one of the 50 largest cities in the United States of America. All of DFW is about to surpass Chicago as the 3rd largest metropolitan area in the country. And I think that we need to start to think like a larger city than we are. We're no longer that bedroom community that I guess a number of people sort of think we are. We've got to think about what transportation looks like in our city. I'm glad that we have Arlington on demand. But it doesn't take people door to door. It doesn't operate on Sundays. If you're a large metropolitan area and you have a theater and you have local businesses, people need to get door to door. My students tell me all the time that they're late for class because they got dropped off and they had to walk the rest of the way. And so these are the kinds of things that in a large metropolitan city, we've got to make sure, and that everyone benefits from a stronger transportation system. I'm sure you all have also noticed the growing numbers of homeless people that you see in our city. Right behind here over at the Arlington Museum of Art, right on the side. Growing numbers, we've got to do something about that. Our city is a large city that doesn't directly address this issue in our budget. Dallas does address homelessness. Fort Worth addresses homelessness. Arlington does not. What we do is we are relying on the goodwill of people like us to give to Mission Arlington and to give to the Life Shelter. But we need to do more to support those organizations that are on the front lines of addressing this issue. I'm not going to sit up here and say that economic development is not as big of an issue in this town. It is. We've got to make sure that we're attracting big businesses. We've got to make sure that we are enhancing the quality of life in town here. That we've got to make sure we are increasing our revenue. I'm not somebody that says that there is a limit. Like, we can keep doing more and more. And I do believe, for example, that the entertainment district is an important side of town. We've got 17 million people that visit our city on a regular basis throughout the course of the year. We need to continue to invest in the entertainment district. But we also need to make sure that East Arlington, for example, when we were on the Unity Council, there's lots of data that shows that East Arlington is a side of town that we need to redevelop, that we need to make some purposeful decisions for in terms of public and private partnerships to enhance that quality of life. As a professor, one of the things that I study is the growth of the African American middle class. This is a great story of more and more of us finding our American dreams, like Sarah and I have been able to do that. But what we also have to do is purposefully invest in certain sides of town to enhance the quality of life, to support small business, to enhance housing in areas of local municipalities. And yes, we can do that. Done a little bit of research. I've talked with Trey Yelverton, our city manager, about some of these public and private partnerships through the Texas Local Government Code. It does allow for empowerment zones right here in Arlington. I think that's something that we need to consider. Again, so when we think about the high end of the entertainment district, sort of the everyday life of East Arlington, there's a lot to be done that we can lift some of these boats to get people to the middle class so that they can enjoy the theater and they can enjoy the arts. So, of course, Stephen asked me to talk about the arts and my love for the arts. It really all goes back to my dad, y'all. This is my dad, Eugene Shelton. He moved here about a year and a half ago. When I was a kid in California, my dad worked in the music industry. So we grew up in a house where Motown was always on the radio, or there was always all kinds of music. From the Beach Boys, good Lord, I can play all those Beach Boys songs and all the words. From the Beach Boys to, the Go-Go's and California rock to Motown and Michael Jackson to Diana Ross. Good God, when he dies, we're gonna put "he's a fan of Diana Ross" on his tombstone. I mean, like,
That's fair.
It is. It really
That's
is.
fair. Why
He
wouldn't
wrote.
you?
I know. He wrote the liner notes. If you get the inside of the Supreme's Greatest Hits album, he wrote the liner notes. All of this stuff is how we grew up as kids. My mother was on the radio in Los Angeles, so we would go to school in the morning and hear Mom on the radio. Here we are in the public bus, and my mom's voice is telling us what's happening in the world. The arts was how we grew up. Music was just the beginning. Then it turned into going to plays. Then it turned into traveling. Then it turns into. And so Sarah and I have raised our girls like that. Chloe, our youngest, was a part of a summer seminar here at Theater Arlington a few years ago. We take our girls, we've got a package of tickets to the Jubilee Theater in Fort Worth, where we take our girls regularly to the Jubilee. We go to rap concerts, we go to see the Beach Boys, we do all of those things, and we take the girls with us. art is a way of opening the world and opening your mind, and you don't have to leave home, right? And that's something that our parents taught us decades ago, is that the arts are a way of challenging yourself, enhancing your critical thinking. What is the message here? And I'll be honest with you, sometimes I go to the museum and I'll be with our girls and I'll be like, is that really art? Like, that looks like something you drew when you were 5 years old, right? And they'll be like, well, Daddy, and then we'll start having a good debate about it, right? And that's what it's all about. And so my love for the arts not only comes out in how Sarah and I raise our girls, but I'm also on the board for the Arlington Museum of Art. I'm a recent member of the board for London Pavilion as well. So those are the kinds of things that I try to live my life as a person who believes that the arts are important. If you ask me, and I've also told this story about Sarah, she fell in love with me when we were college students at Kent State, because she saw me get on the stage and I busted a rap in front of the whole crowd, and she knew then that I was the one for her. Right? And so she's gonna tell you something different, but I'm telling you that's the truth. Okay? I'm telling you that's the truth. So it goes all the way, it all begins with music and it begins with the arts, but it also, of course, goes back to my parents were middle class, right? They were able to show us those things. They were able to open the world to us. And so that's why I say that economic development is important, because you've got to get people to the middle class so that they can begin to really to see the full range of the possibilities that are available. So anyway, I know it's 5 o'clock, it's 5:10, but I did want to open it up if you all had any questions about other topics related to my candidacy for Arlington City Council District 8. It is at large. I am on everybody's ballot, y'all. Everybody's ballot across the entire city of Arlington. We live in District 2. You might wonder why'd you decide to run? Well, because Barbara's District 8, and she's the one who said, hey, I can help you run for my seat. I can help you put all these resources behind you. I'm a professor at UT Arlington. That is citywide. I've been there 18 years. I got students, staff, and faculty that have known me for 18 years. The Unity Council, citywide. We serve with people across the board in the city. Last thing I do want to say about the Unity Council, let me go back to that. One of the things that I'm most proud of in chairing the Unity Council is, over the years, we had more than 80 different recommendations over the temporary committee that we were on, and the 2 terms that I served as the chair once it was established as a permanent committee. And the members of the Unity Council represent a wide range of walks in life, whether by race and ethnicity, by religion, by economic status, by political party affiliation. And what I'm proud to say is each and every, more than the 50 members that I served with over the years, each and every one signed off on those recommendations. What does that mean? It means that I'm a bridge builder. It means that I'm able to bring people together to find the middle ground. And Jennifer, you know, there were times we'd be in some of those meetings, especially those subcommittee meetings, and you get this person and that person, and they are complete opposites. But we were able to find middle ground in order to get people to work together. What I've always asked people, and if you elect me to city council, I will do the same things. What I've always asked people is, what can you live with? What can't you live without? Once we know those things, we can find the area to work within. And that's the space that I try to find within people. I never want anyone to sacrifice their values. I'm never gonna ask anybody to fall on a sword. What I am gonna figure out is how much room is there to move. And I find that there's a whole lot more room to move than most people realize. So that being said, Steve, you said you had a question for me?
I did. My main question is, we've heard that you think the arts are important, right?
Yeah.
We all know that. We know that a city, especially our size, has got to have a vital arts program
Yes.
in order to attract, new business and growth.
Yes.
How do you feel about the city funding that and helping that? Will you help ensure that the ways that they are already doing that will continue through
Yes.
the ACTC grants, through the Arlington Tomorrow Foundation?
Yep.
Is that your plan to make sure that that happens?
Yes.
And hopefully, increase funding to the arts?
Yes, I would love to be able to do that. Again, as a city kid, right? Big cities in the United States, when you land in a big city and you're there to hang out, you want to go to and experience the museums. you wanna go to and experience the arts, we have to make sure that our arts are fully funded here in the city. And yes, we need to expand it. One of the ideas that I have is that when Sarah and I are traveling, we often look up and find, does a city have what you call a city pass or something similar to that? So when you're in Atlanta, for example, you can purchase a city pass, and there are 10 different things you can do on that city pass. You pay X amount of dollars, and here are the options that you can pay for out of that. We need something like that. Maybe somebody's here for the Cowboys game, but while you're here, you can go to the AMA, or while you're here, you can come to Theater Arlington, or while you're here, you can go to the Medal of Honor Museum. These are the kinds of things that we need to do to help to sell our city even more. And so I definitely am, again, a big proponent of the arts, but I think that when you're in a city this size and we have the entertainment district, we got 17 million people coming here on a regular basis, how do we push that envelope even further? Well, to do that though, we also have to enhance our transportation system, right? You gotta get people here so that they don't have to walk in the rain to get through the doors. But if we can pull all that together, and I believe we can lift lots of boats in that process. Yes, ma'am.
So I'm gonna just put a boat in here.
Yeah.
There's a Bob Duncan, and I understand it's to be torn down.
Yes.
And of course, the situation, in my opinion, the situation, we have a lot in North Arlington for the city, but mostly for the tourists.
Yes.
The rest of Arlington is all out there.
Yes.
And they don't travel up here.
Yes, you're right.
And so if we don't end up with some sort of a space that is closer to South Arlington, we're just ignoring most of the city.
Yeah.
And those people, they're not even aware. Heck, some of them don't know Theater Arlington is here.
Yes.
Some of them have never heard of the Levitt Pavilion.
Yes.
Some of, and they're not gonna drive.
Right.
And I think that's an issue. And coming from a smaller nonprofit, because this space is beautiful, but they're busy, they're booked all the time.
Right.
There was supposed to be more community availability in the, what do they call it?
Wellspring?
No, the AISD.
Oh.
CVPA.
Yes.
CVPA. Yeah, I think initially that was the plan, was that community organizations could also use that. Well, there's no time and we can't afford it.
Right.
So there's really not a really good space. I know that, the Arlington Master Chorale, they have different churches they sing at, and there's
Yes.
a few other groups that have places, and finding a place for the smaller nonprofits to perform. And I'm talking about performing arts. I'm not talking
Performing
about,
arts, okay.
I'm not talking
Gotcha.
about necessarily, visual art,
Yes.
because I feel like that's being addressed in a
Yes.
lot of places.
Okay, gotcha.
But I think that there are some, and if we could get a little further south and have somewhere there where we could start educating our community, they'll go to Bass Hall. Or they'll go.
Yes. You wanna hop in on that, or is there an answer, or is that to build on?
I don't have an answer, I'm gonna hop in on it.
Hop in on it.
Come on in, Randy.
Persis and I have known each other for, well, we're not going to really get into that, shall we? But she mentioned the Arlington Master Chorale is, goes through various churches and et cetera. And our concerts next week will be at First Baptist Church, which will be downtown.
Yes.
But a lot of times, we have failed to be able to get some of the grants that are available, such as the Tomorrow Grant, et cetera, because we do not have a permanent building downtown that we perform in.
Yes.
And the CDPA that she mentioned is part of the Tomorrow Foundation, and some of the other grants are depending upon your organization having physical property or physical something downtown
That's
within
ACT.
the arts district, within the boundaries of the arts district,
Yes.
in order to qualify for those grants. The CDPA lies 1/2 block outside
Oh, wow.
that line.
Wow.
So we are not eligible for any kind of grants for if we do something with the CDPA, which is relatively expensive for us to, in fact, it is expensive for us it's things like that we feel extremely stymied.
Yes,
by.
I can imagine that, and it does sound like, I mean, I'd be all for, of course, gotta do more homework on it, figure out
Sure, of
how we get there, but in the long arc, this sounds like a great idea, actually, for a place for our, so Sarah and I had no idea that there was an Arlington, what is it, the Mass Chorale? Yes, I had no idea up until about a few weeks ago.
We were excited several years ago when the city spent $110,000 on the study to have a new building added on, right across from the corner of Abrams
Yeah, UTA.
and Cooper.
Really?
Social work.
Yeah, the old social work building.
Blowing out and et
Yes.
cetera, et cetera,
Yes.
and all of us, and the city spent that in study, et cetera, and it disappeared.
But those are,
disappeared.
that sounds like a great project. Again, big cities should have facilities like that. Big
Right.
cities should have places where people come and enjoy the arts and experience the arts. And so, yeah, I definitely would be open to those kinds of possibilities, and of course, supporting our local arts, supporting our, so the young people can see this, and you all can share your talents with the rest of us. I think, again, that's something that is really important for large cities.
It's, I mean,
I saw, let me pull in, Corliss first, I saw her first.
Thank you, Dr. Shelton. I have two questions. They're not about the arts, I'm calling up. My kids go to the fine arts. We love arts in my house.
You
But
can
my
ask
questions are
about
not
anything
about
you
the
want.
arts.
Yeah, anything you want to,
My
Corliss.
first question is, I know that you are at large. I am in District One. But our concern has always been, and we've been there 12 years, the expansion of the rec centers in that area. And we're in far north Arlington, so
Okay.
we're on the other side of 30.
Yes.
We do have Elziona.
Yes.
But one of the things that's lacking is a larger rec space for the kids, a larger workout space, an indoor pool, which is a selfish thing as a mom of a swimmer. But what do you foresee for expanding that and working with Mr. Galante to bring some of those things like Active or the East Rankin Library to North Arlington? Because even our library for that side of town is relatively small.
Wow, really, so that, I appreciate you. I appreciate you bringing this to my attention. This is new news for me. Our oldest daughter, her first job was at LZO as a camp counselor. And so I've been in there many times over the years. I guess I kind of thought, wow, that's a big facility that seemed to be doing well. It sounds like you're thinking there's more
That
to the
can be
equation that can be
yes.
expanded out.
And even like soccer fields here again in North Arlington, we have to go to Harold Patterson.
Really, all the way down south where we
Yes.
live at Harold Patterson?
Yes,
Really?
which is difficult at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning. But those are the types of things that we think about, even though our kids are almost out of school. And so just that expansion into far North Arlington would be awesome. My other question is, I'm not from Arlington, I'm from Fort Worth, grew up in not a very diverse neighborhood, but went to diverse schools. And I think the one thing that concerns me is I constantly hear about the pushback against the diversity of Arlington. That is one of the reasons we love it here and we love it for our kids. How do you frame that message for our community as we grow to get them to understand the importance of diversity? I was excited to see that Theater Arlington is doing For Color Girls Only, which is my favorite piece of work. And so how do you message that to our community that the diversity is important?
Well, okay, let me say a couple of things. First, per the previous point in the entertainment district, a lot of people feel like our local neighborhoods have lost out because there's such an emphasis on the entertainment district. And I sense that for what you're saying here and what you're saying is that so much attention is over here that we're losing out on, some of the basic things, the sense of community, the sense of connectedness, institutions that help to celebrate us as local people and our local community. I hear that completely. So thanks for bringing that in another dimension, another way of addressing that problem. And I definitely think that we all want to feel at home. We all want to feel like we're taxpayers and we love living here. We want to feel like we're maximizing our everyday quality of life in different ways, whether it's sporting facilities and pools. Yeah, we bought a house with a pool, I understand. Like you gotta have that. And that we're feeling like the arts are preserved and we're able to push those arts and present them to the public in ways that are are reinforcing to our community because we are people of those communities. So I get that. On the diversity side of it, I'm sure you all know that Arlington is now the third most racially and ethnically diverse city in all of the United States of America. Like, that is tremendous. And I believe that our diversity is a strength. And I'm not the only one that believes that. I know a great number of us do. If I'm elected to office, I would definitely emphasize that. I'll be honest with you, I'm here because I chaired the Unity Council, right? We worked on diversity in our city. And I can tell you, and Jennifer, you know this as well, and going back to my previous point, there are people across a wide range of walks in life, and I'm not just talking race, I'm talking about political party affiliation, I'm talking about sexual orientation, I'm talking about a whole host of different forms of diversity that people were excited about and wanted to reinforce. So if I'm elected to office, I'm gonna emphasize that diversity is a strength. There's a lot of research, and I can be really nerdy for a minute and tell you that cities that, the research shows, like for back home in Cleveland, Ohio, where we're from, Cleveland is not very diverse, and it struggles economically, it struggles politically, it struggles in so many ways because they haven't figured out how to harness the talents in the city. Arlington has figured it out, and a host of bigger cities across the United States. Those cities that tend to thrive, those cities that tend to have a brighter future, tend to be places where people of diverse backgrounds feel that they are welcome and have an opportunity to move forward. We found that here in Arlington, and so we've got to keep pushing that. When everybody's the same, everybody has the same ideas. You cannot grow from challenges and different perspectives. That's exactly the opposite for what we see about cities that are thriving. And so if I'm elected to office, I'm gonna stand on that platform. I won't ever run from Unity Council. My dad knows his parents grew up in segregated Birmingham, Alabama. I'm not someone that believes that because of the current climate that has clearly moved away from emphasizing diversity. I think that if you just wait long enough, if grandma was in the room, she would take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We're gonna keep moving forward. We're gonna get pushed back, but that doesn't mean you don't prepare for tomorrow, and it doesn't mean that you don't emphasize how far that we have come. And we will continue to move forward. We'll just continue to get our game right, so when the time comes to take the steps forward, we'll be ready to do so. And our diversity is a strength, no question about it. Appreciate that question. Yes.
The arts.
Yes.
Let's go back to that.
Yes,
So,
yes,
full
yes.
disclosure, so I've been on the Arlington Cultural Tourism Council for at least 9 years. And when we used to fund Master Corral, and then the city created this cultural district, which is in this downtown.
Yes.
And had borders, and then said, we're going to fund, we want to create this cultural district for all the arts to be here.
Yes.
And so we're going to fund people who are here and or perform here.
Yes, in these boundaries.
Perform within these boundaries. And then my huge disappointment when the museum moved, because that makes them ineligible to receive money.
You're talking about the museum as in the
Museum of
AMA?
Art. So, though, no surprise to anybody, they're getting money
Yes.
from
Yes.
that budgeted line item.
Gotcha.
And I have ethical problems with that, because it's taking away from what the stated goals of that was. I mean, first of all, I don't think it was, I would have rather seen this section redeveloped for the museum, honestly. Now, I know that ship has sailed. But I'm looking at a pretty much unused UTA building right
Yes.
next door.
Right.
That I know that the theater and probably Persis would love to be able to have some space in. Is the city, I mean, you can't answer this because you're running for it, but what is the city's seriousness about this being a cultural district? Versus trying to create a second one to kind of include the museum over there.
I got you. I see what you're
And
saying.
so it's like, they don't seem to take seriously what they've already decided.
What about the possibilities of expanding the boundaries?
Then there has to be a crap ton of money, because I know they do
I
not
don't,
want
I think
less.
once it's set, like this one,
Yes.
once it's set, it's the state of Texas.
Okay.
So I don't think they will change, you have to
Right.
apply for others, and my understanding is that Gary Packin is applying
Now, they
for.
could decide,
They are, well,
Are in the
they haven't
process.
yet.
they could just, like this, they could decide, like, I don't know, the city can do what they want, they can decide that our committee could open up our granting process.
Okay.
But then why take away from what's already been established, cause I don't wanna take away from what's already
Yes.
been being funded,
Right.
because they get so little anyway.
Right.
Because, you know, we look, it comes from hotel bed tax, but these brand new hotels
Mhm.
that are being built and being full
Yes.
are not paying, are getting rebated their hotel bed tax. That it's not going to be helping the arts,
Okay, gotcha.
because these are the deals cities make. It's not uncommon, we're not doing anything shady.
Mhm.
It's just you get this huge hope, like, oh, look at all these hotels, and look at all
Yes,
this
yes,
money.
yes, yes.
But for that development, they charge the hotel bed tax, but then they get rebated that amount of money from the city, so.
So is there another, so if we can't expand the range of the boundaries, can we establish a second?
That's what
Well,
they're
that's
trying
what
to
they're
do.
That
trying to
sounds like
do.
that's what it's trying
That's
to
what they're
do.
trying-
You
but
just
that'll be
apply,
very-
yeah, for a
Very
different.
But I think that will be
Okay.
difficult to do, they've already applied for it, but the only other, the city of the next, that has two, is San Antonio.
Okay.
So,
But there's a
I'm
precedent.
not sure we're
Is that
saying
in Houston? I thought Houston had.
Well, I mean, they may have like three.
Houston's got like 7.
Yeah, I mean, they can make more, but like, are we as big as San Antonio?
I think when doors open, it sounds like it's possible.
Yeah.
As I'm listening.
then
It's
where-
possible, it's just for us, I think our concern is the funding.
Where is the money
Where's the
coming
money
from?
gonna come from? Yeah, yeah. I get
Whereas,
that.
I'm not saying the museum doesn't deserve money.
Right,
But
sure.
then when you open that up, then you've got the Medal of Honor Museum,
Yes.
you've got the Bowling Museum, you've
Yes.
got all sorts of, you've got the Dallas Cowboys who have a little art installation.
Yes, they
They
do.
could all apply. So these are the things that we think about
Yes.
as we're thinking about funding, trying to preserve what we have. Because the point was to preserve downtown
Mhm.
as a place for people to come.
I see what you mean.
Otherwise, y'all will just run to the hills.
And this $60 million thing that they're doing in the
Yeah.
400 and 500 block of
Mhm.
Taylor
Yeah.
and Main Street, is that just apartments again?
Apartments, and it's supposed to be mixed use development with businesses.
Yeah.
But it's private, it's not public. There's,
Right.
they may be giving them public breaks, but it's not, some damn developer is getting all the money,
Right.
as usual.
I appreciate y'all bringing this again, these are new things.
I know.
So
This
as I
is the-
appreciate
This is the
learning
under
here.
the covers,
That under the
cockroaches
covers,
running out.
yeah. Well, that's part of running, right? That's
Yeah.
part of running, is to, and
If-
understanding.
If it were easy, everybody, I mean, it would be
Sure.
solved. And so
Sure.
it's very complicated and political and all of that.
Jennifer?
Okay, so this is not the arts, but this is related to small businesses trying to come in and take some
Yes.
ownership in some small places, maybe in East Arlington, maybe
Yes.
in the international corridor and stuff like that.
Yes.
It is very difficult to get through the city to get permits.
Oh, good lord.
And I'm saying this is somebody who did it with my parents' bed and breakfast.
Yes.
It took us the same amount of time it took Jerry to build permit bills and
Yes.
then have an entire football team show up. So, and I still haven't got permits yet.
Yeah.
And then I am now a business owner or building owners here in downtown Arlington in the entertainment district of Arlington. And for the person who's renting it to get permitted to build his barbecue smoke shack off the back, it took me coming in and me calling Louis Hogg and
Yes.
me calling, you know what I'm saying, which
Yes.
again, I don't mind doing.
Right.
But why does it take a small guy who's just trying to make
I
build
agree.
his business so he can buy
Yes.
this building and he can create the future for his family?
Yes. There's a lot that needs to be done there,
But
Jennifer.
but it's a big fight, and
Yeah.
it's just a terrible, like, I don't like that, cause people are like, oh, I've tried, so now they walk away and they go where it's easier, whether it be Fort Worth, whether it be
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
offering them something
Antigua.
else.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Antigua.
What I hear even, so prohibitively expensive to remove a sign and put up a new one that they
Yes.
can't afford to do it.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a lot.
They're
a
not,
lot
it's
of
not
this.
supporting this, it's not supporting a new business
Right.
with something as simple as doing that. It's like, why is it so expensive? Why is there so many steps to it? Why can't you waive the fee? You're trying to bring somebody in, you're gonna give somebody with multi-million dollars of tax break, but a guy that's maybe 40 people that could bring in business,
Yep.
you know, with 20 different businesses, can't do it the same way.
No, I agree. I was in a panel discussion recently at the Arlington Chamber of Commerce, and I'll tell a quick story of our house. We're in the same situation. Yeah, so we finally bought the house that we've always wanted for our kids. We got the house with the pool. Good Lord, Texas summers are hot. Girls want the pool simply. And we wanted to put up a pergola in the backyard. And it has taken us forever and a day to get through the permitting process. And we're gonna get through it, but I really feel bad for our contractor, because he's had to come out to our house multiple times to meet, to get somebody to say, to do an assessment or to say yes or no, and it's taken so much of his time, where he's having to come to our house, where he could have been trying to put up pergolas at other people's houses. So I get it completely. I mean, this really hinders his progress. We're gonna be fine in the end, but it's a hindrance in what he could be doing to spread his business with his time and his effort. So I clearly see where this is a problem. I've heard the story about the sign too. There's a guy who I know who owns some property, and there's an old sign on his property, and how do you deal with that issue? I've come to look into it, and it sounds like there's more red tape than there has to be on some of these things. So I think we can begin to hopefully cut through that. I hear that, and it's
I'll
not
serve on that
an issue.
committee is what I'm saying.
Yes, come on, Jennifer, let's do it, Jennifer, let's look
Let's
into it.
unify
for sure.
us in signage and permitting process.
Yes, Jennifer, no doubt.
Let's
But
build
it-
some bridges.
You don't want to hinder business like that. You gotta keep things moving. Yes, sir.
I'd like to bring it back to the transportation issue.
Yes.
I'll just preface my question, which is, how are you gonna get that done?
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people, I think, don't want Arlington to be a big city.
Yes.
Their vision of Arlington is not a big city.
Yes.
Yet, I think it's inevitable. I also believe that one of the things that has been lacking, I moved here in 1969. I've been here a while. And so I've watched a lot of change, I've watched a lot of resistance. Transportation has been, again and again, something that people have asked for, and it's been voted down.
Yes.
It hasn't been happening. It has kept us from participating in Olympics. I'm surprised that we got the World Cup. It probably kept us from future Super Bowls, all kinds of things.
Yep.
That are hallmarks of big cities, because it brings revenue despite the rebates.
Yes.
And by the way, Arlington should be very proud of having paid off these stadiums in record
Yes.
time. That's something that I credit our council with as being
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
I don't know if any other cities managed to make that happen.
Yes, I agree.
So we've got, and I know about Old Arlington. I know intimately about Old Arlington.
Yes, sir.
You've got a big hill to climb if you think you're gonna change a lot of the minds that are wanting Arlington to stay small, and part of that is not having buses pollute or have soft rail. I think it needs to be done. I'd be interested in how you're gonna make that happen.
So I appreciate this question a lot. I don't think it's as heavy of a lift as the way that you've presented it. I'm not somebody that wants buses either. As a kid in LA, we used to call the RTD bus was Rapid Transit District, but we used to call it the rough, tough, and dangerous. Right? And so we used to hop on the RTD. I don't want that here. I really don't. And I think buses are an old school form of mass transportation. It's very expensive.
apparently the data for our city shows that our city is not dense enough to support an actual bus system. The list I wanna make for transportation is not nearly as heavy. It's taking what we currently have. The short term is to take Arlington on demand, extend the hours, get you door to door. That's where I want to start, all right? So that's where I think, and there's a lot more room there to move than there is to set up a bus or put in light rail.
Right.
So that's where I wanna start. What is the low hanging fruit to get people door to door? That's where you start. I don't wanna go with the buses. But on the flip side of that, I do see the longer arc. So I want you all to think, I want you to know about me that I'm thinking 50 years from now. What does the city look like? So we want our girls to stay here. I know you want your family to stay here. How do you get them to stay here? And what does the city look like in 50